from that. But yeah, so they got Kamala killed it. They got Taylor Swift's endorsement. It's been a good 24 hours for Kamala Harris. So Trump had a couple things happen. I guess good or bad, depending on how you want to look at it for him. Before this, one, his sentencing in his 34 count felony fraud case, where they did business fraud, that got delayed till after the election. And part of what happened there was the judge, Merchan, basically was looking for the DA to make a request. And the DA said basically, we'll defer to the court. You do whatever you want to do, right? And there was a lot of pressure because it's like, well, if I sentence him now, it looks like I might be interfering with the election. I don't want to do that. But at the same time, you're the court. It shouldn't matter. And so he kind of took the way out where he said, look, I'll just sentence him after the election. We'll postpone it because the DA is not objecting. But he even said, I think it's bogus that we're doing this. Kind of. But it's like, kind of like, yeah, you're saying that, but you're doing it. So it's kind of a mix or match. But it does lead to a couple things that you can probably assume about why he delayed it. And I wanted to get into that. So this is MSNBC, and they had a couple lawyers on with Alex Wagner to talk about what the delay might mean for Trump in the sentencing.
Joining me now are Duncan Levin, former prosecutor in the Manhattan DA's office, and Christy Greenberg, former federal prosecutor and an MSNBC legal analyst. Duncan, can you take me inside the sort of mind of Judge Merchan to the degree that you are able to professionally and sort of explain to those of us who don't understand the back and forth, what a sentencing hearing is?
Sure.
And why Judge Merchan thinks that those proceedings could inadvertently intersect with the political proceedings of a November election?
Well, so a sentencing proceeding basically is the opportunity for the prosecution to make basically oral arguments, for the defense also, and for the defendant to get to talk, because throughout this whole trial, he had the right to testify, but he didn't. This is his moment to talk, and he gets to make a statement to the court and express remorse or not. And I don't think he will, but he's allowed to talk to the court.
Something tells you?
Something tells me. And so he's allowed to talk. And then the judge is going to pronounce sentence orally, and it's being done very formally in this case. Sometimes in state court, it's not. But there are a lot of swirling things here going on for Judge Merchan. And I think that a lot of people have been saying this is a huge win for Trump, but I think it's anything but. It looks like the noose is tightening in a way, because if he loses the election, this makes it far more likely that he's going to get some kind of sentence with confinement on it. And I know I've been talking to you for the whole summer, sort of off stage, about the fact that I think that that's going to happen. But I think this makes it much more likely, because Judge Merchan's in a very difficult position to put him even in house arrest during the final stages of the election. Once the election's over, if he loses, if he wins the election, all bets are off.
Right.
If he loses the election, I think it makes it much more likely to do that. But there are also other.
Sorry. I don't. Oh, you're muted too. Sorry. I don't think Merchan. I think the analysis was good. I think Merchan, kind of a twofer here. One, I think he wants to sentence him to time in prison. We've looked at this before, and people doing equal stuff have gotten a year to 2 years. I think he's afraid to do it now before the election. However, here's the deal. If Trump wins the election, he could sentence him and it won't necessarily matter, because it'll be a Supreme Court issue. Right? And we already know which way they'll probably go. But if he loses the election, then he's in real trouble. So now it all hinges on Trump winning the election, which incentivizes Trump now to cheat and do whatever he can. And they're already trying to do stuff to cheat and get fake electors into different states. And this has been an ongoing problem that DOJ has been dealing with. So there's that issue where it's like, okay, so you're kind of dumping the sentencing onto the American public. So that's not really justice. Yeah. That's... Go ahead.
It's sort of like we became sideways the jury, you know?
Well, I mean, he's already been convicted. So it's one of those things where it's like, why are you dumping this on with the outcome of the election. And he's sort of passing it down to the DA. And I get he's under a lot of pressure and he's getting death threats and all that stuff. I get it. But at the same time, it's like, kind of not justice to me. It shouldn't matter that he's running for office. He's a convicted felon. He needs to be sentenced.
I mean, quite frankly, it's crazy that a convicted felon can run for office. I mean, if you're a convicted felon, can you even go and vote for yourself?
Nah, not in every state. I think in Florida, he's typically in Florida you can't, but I think they gave Trump an exception for some reason, but so he can still vote. But anyway, I just think I don't know. I think it's kind of chicken shit. I mean, I can see where he's sitting there going, yeah, if Trump loses, then yeah, I'm sure Merchan's going to give him a year, 2 years, whatever it is. I wouldn't doubt it. And Trump's going to spend the rest of his life. If he loses the election, he's going to spend the rest of his life going between a jail cell and a courtroom. That's just a fact, and he knows it. That's why he's so scared. But the fact of the matter is that would be justice. He's already been convicted. Yeah. And I think the way Chutkan handled this in her situation, where she's doing the review now for the immunity stuff, right? But she's put a fast track on that. And Trump's lawyers were trying to tell her, well, it's too fast. And she's like, look, we've been sitting on this a year waiting on the Supreme Court. How is this too fast and how are you not prepared? And they were like, well, the election thing. She's like, don't talk to me about election. The election's his day job. I don't care. It's not going to interfere with my court schedule. And honestly, Lazy, you, me, anybody else, anybody watching this, you got convicted of 34 felony counts, you can't go to the judge and say, well, but Your Honor, I got to work. No, you don't, because you're going to prison. Oh.
We'll find a special kind of work for you there.
I mean, anybody else, you'd already be sentenced by now. So
right.
I think it's a little bit of a chicken shit move. I think the American people need to know before we vote. What kind of trouble is this guy really in? So, just what it is. But it looks like he's not going to get sentenced before the election on anything.
I'm not surprised even a little.
I know. I can't. But, I mean, it's just depressing. It's not surprising, but it is depressing that that's what it came down to.